Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're taking a little bit of a break from all the Zelda stuff and talking about the Sledgehammer from one of my favorite games out there, Rainbow Six Siege. Now, I printed this on the Bamboo Lab P1S using the Orca slicer, and it's definitely one of my more simple projects, especially when compared to the two swords back here. But with that, I wanted to make sure I go into a little bit more detail with a few of the steps for you guys. And with that, let's get into it. With this print, I actually found the file for this on Thingiverse. So if you want to go ahead and print the exact same thing, you can hit the link in the description below. With the 3D file pulled up here, as you can see, the creator of the file only gives you the option to print each individual piece off rather than printing one whole print. Typically, I like to have one solid 3D print that I can split up the exact way that I would want, not only to work best for my printer, but to work best for me when I'm piecing everything together and fusing it. Luckily, not all hope was lost. When you upload all of those files into the slicer at once, it should give you an option to load everything as one single object. This time, I hit yes, and it loaded it all as one object and pieced everything together properly. I was a little worried about this because I had tried this before with the Master Sword and it printed it all as one object, but each of those sections still snapped off and weren't actually one solid piece. The one thing that I did different this time was hit this little repair button on the bottom of the screen. For this print specifically, it seemed to work and actually make that one solid print. With that, I split everything into their separate pieces the way that would work best for me and hit slice and made sure that everything was going to print as one solid piece rather than a bunch of separate pieces that can split apart easily. There are a few minor areas that I noticed, but nothing that was going to let the piece completely snap apart. The last thing I wanted to go over before we hit print is cutting and adding connectors. You might have noticed with this print, there are a few things sticking up out of the top of these sections. These are connectors and they have been an absolute game changer for me and made the whole process of fusing and putting the piece together so much easier. When you decide to cut your print, you'll notice this little button that says Add Connectors. From there, another menu will pop up that gives you the option to add a plug, a dowel, or a snap. I have only used the snap connectors. However, if you want to use any of the other ones, definitely experiment with those and see if those work a little bit better for you. Like I said, the snap connectors are by far my favorite. The only settings that I mess with for the snap connectors are the depth and the size to make sure that they're actually going to snap together properly and provide support and more structure. From there, you can click anywhere that you want to add those connectors, hit Confirm Connectors, and the slicer will do the rest of the work for you. It will add those connectors as well as the corresponding holes that you're connecting to. And these connectors make everything so much easier. Everything snaps together. I don't have to worry about anything being twisted or positioned wrong. And even without fusing, it makes it pretty strong. Now that we had everything all printed, we gotta sand. There are a few settings that I'm still adjusting when it comes to all of the supports for my prints that I haven't quite got narrowed down yet. So this print came out just a little bit rough for me, but nothing that sanding and filing down couldn't fix. Now that I had everything sanded, I was ready to piece all those together and everything snapped together very well. Luckily with those connectors, the entire fusing process is so much easier. I don't have to tape and fuse and take the tape off and then reapply it somewhere else. I snap them together, I fuse it, and everything comes out perfectly. With this print, I used the black gloss paint, so I wasn't quite as worried about filling each of those fused spots in to perfection. And finally, to add the more weathered and worn look, like paint had been chipped off and that this had been used a lot, I took the white gloss paint and just a piece of paper and wiped and kind of scraped that white paint onto this print. And then on all of the parts that I wanted to have a more metallic look and have that weathered look, I took the graphite powder and wiped it onto those parts and made it a little bit more subtle and more metallic-y. And that is everything for the Sledgehammer here. I think it turned out great, especially when you compare to the in-game model. I think I got the weathered and worn look that I want, but what do you think? Do you think I should have gone with more of a pristine and perfect look, or do you like the weathered look? Make sure to share that in the comments down below, and if you got this far, make sure to leave a like as well. And I have a couple of projects currently in the works for you guys. In fact, one of them just got done printing and should be done here in the next couple of days, as well as my bigger project I'm currently in the 3D modeling stage for, and it is a certain sword from a game that hasn't quite been released yet. So if you want to stay updated with all that as well, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.